Having the right lawyer can be critically important. Take it from Kyle Rittenhouse. He says that his first lawyers kept him in jail when they had the money in hand to bond him out. Let's listen.
Lynn Wood and John Pierce on August 27th became counsel. They started raising money and they raised over $2 million before September 5th of 2020. And they wanted to fight extradition with a militia argument, which I didn't even know what a militia was until November 20th when I got bailed out. I could have been bailed out a lot sooner in September if they hadn't kept me in jail.
Kyle ended up with a solid legal team. Mark Richards and Corey Shirafisi did a great job. So that leads us to the question of, how do you get a good lawyer? Or maybe more importantly stated, how do you avoid a bad lawyer? In this video, I'm going to break down step by step how you can find a lawyer to handle just about any legal situation. I'm going to use DUI and self-defense as my examples. I do have a question before we start though. If you have prepaid legal or concealed carry insurance, do you think that would protect you in a Kyle Rittenhouse type situation where you're charged criminally? Let me know down in the comments. I'm really interested. First place we're going to go is avo.com. Avo is a free website that allows you to search for attorneys based upon location and type of legal practice. Avo attempts to list every attorney in the United States. Avo ranks every attorney on a scale of 1 to 10 based upon a number of factors such as years licensed, experience, and disciplinary actions. Just like anything else, Avo isn't perfect, but it's free and it's good. As a disclaimer, I advertise on Avo and have a professional profile. Not that it matters. Just to calibrate the results, I'm looking up attorneys I know to verify the results match. I looked up DUI Attorney Orlando. The attorneys are ranked and they're default sorted by best match. You'll see that at the top right. There's some pretty good attorneys on here. You'll see that my profile on here has a green callouts as well as a telephone number. That indicates that I have a premium account. You'll notice that everything that pops up initially is an advertisement. This is how Avo makes their money. Attorneys pay for a professional profile and they pay for special placement. Thankfully, Avo gives us some sorting tools to help us negate any potential bias. In my experience, it's best to compare the attorneys across all three versions of this sort: best match, best reviewed, and most reviewed. If I had to discount the reliability of one of them, it would be best reviewed. The results seem a little bit skewed there. Let's put Avo to the test. A police officer friend of mine sent me this direct message. A friend needs help with a second DUI. Do you have any connections in Michigan? So I go to Avo and I type in DUI attorney, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Everything we see here is advertisements. When we go below the fold, we get our first non-advertisement section. I'm going to continue searching and narrow this down. So I'm not saying this is a bad attorney, but he's former active duty JAG, which is more along the lines of federal, and you wouldn't think about that for state court DUI. So 6 attorneys underneath him. He runs a firm. That could be good or bad, depending on what you want. Gerald Likens, this guy stands out to me. 27 years licensed, 100 reviews. So Edward might be a good one too. 10 years of experience, 81 reviews. Former federal prosecutor, a lot of federal. Now that I've got my list down to a couple different attorneys, it's time to look at the reviews. I'm going to start by looking at negative reviews. No 1-star reviews. Third DUI. On the bright side, I only went to jail for 45 days. Okay, so we have an upset guy with a 3-star or with a 2-star review. He doesn't really have bad reviews, and the one questionably bad review he has, he's responded appropriately to. So far, so good. Now let's take a look at his positive reviews to find out if he's handled the types of cases that we're looking for. In this case, a second DUI. After looking at this guy's reviews, I'm really liking our results. I always start with the bad reviews because I want to identify persistent mistakes or bad business practices that will bother me. I try not to look at isolated incidents. Instead, I look for patterns of behavior. If they do have a negative review, how did they respond to it? Did they ignore it? Did they identify the problem? Did they explain it properly? Did they call the other person out? That's something you should concern yourself with. As we look through the good reviews, we try to determine if those reviews are related to the legal situation that we have. I'm pretty happy with both these guys, so we're going to take it to Google and compare them there. This Google profile seems very underdeveloped in comparison to the profile on Avo. So by comparison, we have Likens Law. We'll look to his lowest reviews first. So this is some pre-hire consultation issue. There's a bad review unanswered. So we got 2 bad reviews, one of which wasn't a client or doesn't appear to be a client, and the other one, no reference at all. Likens got my recommendation, and Sternisha got my second approval. You get the call from Kyle while he's in jail, and he says, hey, I need an attorney. Can you help me find one? What do? Let's replicate that search to see what we come up with. Okay, so right from the jump, Casey Hoff, he's listed as number 1, 66 reviews. That's great. However, he is listed as criminal and traffic. We want violent crime, so that might be a little bit different, not his specialty. Christopher seems fine. I don't have any issue with this here. Licensed 30 years, 49 reviews. Brian Dimmer, Richards and Dimmer, so we have a partnership here. That name looks familiar. So I got some reviews to look at. This guy has great reviews, but he focuses on federal criminal defense, and we're looking at a state charge here. So I think you'd be better off going with somebody in the state court system. After looking at all the attorneys, I narrowed it down to 3 or 4, of which Brian Dimmer was one. When I followed through to Brian Dimmer's website, guess what pops up? Mark Richards. The process works. Do you ever wonder how a DUI defense attorney beats a DUI case? Click on the link to watch that video. It's a 2-part series, one for the toxicology and one for the sobriety tests. Thanks for watching.